product for all weanlings in the herd, and they make sure that the product, it's the actual product volume that's the requirement. So, for example...
Sorry, can I just come in on that now? Because I think a few things needs to be clarified here. Over the last 6 or 7 months, VITs have brought call meetings in hotels around the country. And when you see them giving you biscuits and sandwiches and all the different stuff, and they're telling you what's coming down the line, and it was made very clear to farmers in a lot of places around this country that to give the prescription, they would be calling out to their farm to decide what they need. And have ye made any allowance for that in your legislation? No is the answer. And second of all, have you made any allowance for the farmer that will have to pay more money now than what they had to pay up to now? So I think the signal you're giving out seems to be this jolly thing of Vish will come and he'll be doing the herd test, and when he'll be sitting within the Jeep and you maybe giving them a few €100 for the herd test, you'll say, I want a lot of stuff, fluconide or whatever you want for the year, and she'll write it out there and everything happy. Well, that's not the way it's going to end up, because the farmer is basically at the end of the barrel of the gun on this one, and the VITs will have the opportunity to screw them. And that's the facts about it. Whether you want to admit that or not, and that's the way the legislation has been written, the farmer here is at the end of this stick. And they are going to be with VITs around the country, because it's happened already. I've seen what the build up to this, when they're bringing you to hotels. I never saw it in my life up to now, and now this is happening over the last 6 months. Getting them ready to basically bring them in.
I just want to make a point. I haven't spoken all evening, but you're talking about a 12-month prescription, and then you talk about that this is the benefit to reduce resistance in animals. In actual fact, a 12-month prescription, if it is given by the vet, will be counterproductive to what you're trying to achieve, because if it gives the possible full coverage that a farmer needs for the year, he will be giving him drugs that he might not need depending on different circumstances. So to tell us that a vet is going to give a 12-month prescription and that is going to help to reduce the building up of that's going to help to reduce resistance in animals is a fallacy, and it is wrong. Like, if you get a dry year, you won't need a fluke dose. If you get a wet year, you will need it. And like, it depends on various things. Whether you get damp weather, you might have more hose than you will have in a dry year. And to think that a vet is going to say on the 1st of March or the 1st of April that he can predict what you're going to need for 12 months is wrong and is misleading us. And this, no, I don't want to do it. It's wrong. And to say that you can get on one day of the year that a farmer can know what he's going to want for the year is wrong. And like, if he does take all precautions and like there was an offer on, buy everything that he might need, it's going to be counterproductive to what we're trying to achieve. So let's cut out the nonsense here now and be square. A 12-month prescription is not going to happen in reality. And if it does happen in reality, it's going to cost the farmers money.
Sure, I didn't finish. I had one more to make just on that. Is it true that in when the vet, if a farmer comes with a vet's prescription to the merchant, that the responsible person who's dealing with him has to give him exactly verbatim the product that's on the prescription, that they cannot give a generic equivalent?
Paul, I'll bring you back in.
Senator Daly, one of the recommendations that this committee put to us, one of the 10 recommendations, was to examine the dispensing or the substitution of generic products. Now, we discussed that with the HPRA, and we came up with this, what the HPRA have advised us to call it, a comparable product list. And that comparable product list will be available. So we will be able to, the dispenser, be that the co-op or the licensed merchant, will be able to examine the prescription, and in our NVPS, they will be given every product that can be substituted for that. And that will include the one that they will have on their shelf. And we've worked with ICOS, when we've worked with ILMA to ensure that this is workable, and they recently proposed additional changes, and we have accommodated them. So we have
You've accommodated them by tying them to a list. So basically, what I was coming from was my first point.
Yeah.
The responsible person won't even have that much wriggle room. If I have my prescription for March and I'm after having a wet summer,
the list is
it has to give what you and HBA decide is the identical product.
The list is a sensible list, Senator. For example, if we were talking about car parts, it's a clutch. It's all the clutches that are available out there that will suit that model. So it is a species, depends on the species. The product has to be authorised in the species, but it is a comprehensive list that will allow for that type of generic substitution that you had recommended that we'd bring in, and it's there.